You can begin from the Old Testament towards the gospel. You can begin from contemporary stories towards the gospel. You can even begin from a meme towards the gospel. And you can begin from any point towards the gospel as you share the message of the gospel and the hope of Christ that we have for this world today. Hello, and how are you? My name is Lemayian. I am a FOCUS staff, and today we want to talk about how to share the gospel and how to run an evangelistic conversation. As I was thinking about this text, I remembered Jesus Christ in John chapter 4 when he met the woman at the well. Now what happened there is that Jesus was thirsty, and so he sits around this well. He sends his disciples to go and pick something that they would eat, but then this woman comes to fetch water, and then they begin a conversation. So Jesus asked, "Will you give me water?" Then there was a problem because he couldn't give water to Jesus, who is a Jew. And you can read the whole story. It's about water, about the people, about the woman's family, about the person asking for water, about Abraham, about so many other things. But Christ was so creative in how he ran the conversation, because he ensured that the conversation always came back to water. And what was his point to this text that we say? He tells the woman that I am the living water. That if you drank from the well which I give you, you will never thirst again. And that is the message of the gospel, that all men need Jesus Christ. So one of the most creative ways of sharing the gospel is to use the moment. If, for example, yesterday I wanted to go with the Mandamano as we were going to do the demonstrations in town, and I met somebody, and one of the ways that I would share the gospel with him or her, I would ask them, "So why are you going to the Mandamanos today?" I would be really keen to understand their reason for going to the demonstrations. And they would tell me, I'm going here because I feel our government is not accountable, and I feel our government is not using our taxes well. Tell me so many other reasons. So I would even begin with the accountability issue. Then I would, for example, ask them, "Oh, that is really great. But how about your life? Are you accountable to God? Do you know that God will call you to accountability?" And you see, that will be a great opening point for us to have a conversation about accountability and how God desires of men to be accountable to him. And that is really the gospel. I am only able to share the gospel in that manner because I have understood what the gospel is. And I think one of the most important things to do as far as sharing the gospel is concerned, is for us to know what the gospel is precisely, so that we are able to begin from any point towards the gospel. You can begin from the Old Testament towards the gospel. You can begin from contemporary stories towards the gospel. You can even begin from a meme towards the gospel. And you can begin from any point towards the gospel as you share the message of the gospel and the hope of Christ that we have for this world today. So I think as we prepare to share the gospel, it's important for us to think about the circumstance with which we are finding. So for example, you could find yourself in a circumstance where you will never meet that person again. So it's important to prepare for such a circumstance. Maybe I have only 5 minutes with this person, or I have a journey from Kasarani to town with this person. It's a 30 minutes conversation, and I know that if God grants us the grace, we'll talk for only 30 minutes. I may never meet that person again. Another instance is that I may be in campus with this person, so I'll be with this person for the next 3-4 years, and so I have an opportunity of sharing the gospel with this person for a long time. I have an opportunity to persuade them for a longer moment. Another way of preparing for the gospel is to prepare to share it for a lifestyle, for a lifetime, maybe through your life, through how you live, and having those moments of sharing the gospel constantly with the person. So it's important to prepare also for these conversations. Could it be for you to anticipate the questions? Could it be for you to memorize important conversations in important texts? For example, thinking about the texts that are important as you share the gospel and have them committed to memory, so that you do not have to carry your Bible to open and share the gospel with the person that you're sharing the gospel with. Another thing that is important as you prepare to share the gospel is to have talking points. Just know what is the most important thing if I was to share the gospel in 2 minutes? So it's important to think through, what will I share? What will I say? What is not important, and to leave it out. So as in closing, many times we begin with what does not work. And sometimes it could be that we ambush people. It's a cultural issue. We just come back, we just come find somebody doing something, and we tell them, this is important, you must listen to it. Sometimes people have heard it so many times, and they just want somebody who will tell them in a way they can identify with. They want somebody who respects their time. They have met with preachers who have done it badly before, and they are looking for one preacher who will do it well. Sometimes we need to think about sharing the gospel with grace, without forcing it upon a person. If the message is important and it's good news, you do not need to force it upon a man. You just need to say it with a kind heart, without calling them out in a gruesome way, so that they never want to listen to you again. Now, as we close this conversation, it's good to think through whether you're going to meet this person again another time. If you're never going to meet this person again, could you ask for their number? That could be a good way of closing the conversation. If you are going to meet this person again, is it important for you to tell the person, okay, we will meet again, since we are in the same class, we will meet again next week. Can we continue this conversation from here? You see, that gives you a good place of entry next time. The last way, as we think of how to close the conversation, is to give them a clear call to action. You can ask them whether they have a prayer item they want you to pray with them, or you can you at least have a way of telling them what to do with what you have shared with them. So as we share the gospel, the message is simple, but we have to be very creative. Let's not feel entitled that people must hear. They do not have to hear. They have a lot of things to listen to. But we have to be creative on our part as we also share the gospel prayerfully. Asante.